Hey, what's up everyone? There is an upcoming content and collaborators event being held in Minnesota on May 5th, which is a Friday, at Far East Bar. I will be attending. If anyone wants to hang out and are in the area, come on by. It will be hosted by Mix, Reminisce Podcast, and myself. If you're a content creator and are wanting to attend, make sure to complete the form on the event page. That way we can get a head count of which creators are there in case anyone wants to network. Anyway, on with the story, and as always, if you like the content, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share it. You can also purchase some merchandise from the Pocket Shop. Also, before I forget, I am working on a new t-shirt design based on this story, Buddy. Check it out if you haven't listened to it yet. All information and links will be in the description. Thanks, everyone. Karaoke Night. Several of my family and I went on a weekend getaway a while ago to a seaside town. There were 8 of us, 3 couples, and our niece and nephew. Aside from our niece and nephew, who were barely in their 20s, the rest of us were between the ages of 30 to 50 years old. We didn't want any kids on this trip, so we left them with other family members. Living more or less in the same city with our destination 4 hours away, that Friday, we met at my place after work and carpooled to our Airbnb. We arrived there at 7:45 p.m. We were all tired from the trip, so after dinner, we called it a night. At the start of the next day, we went out for breakfast. Afterward, we explored the town, went sightseeing, and took tons of pictures. Of course, there were some shopping involved as well. After a fun-filled day, we got back to the Airbnb at approximately 7:30 p.m. From there, we cracked open a case of beer as we relaxed and hung out before heading back home the next day. It was so refreshing to have our own space without catering to our kids for once. No one was crying, fighting, or hogging the TV, and I wasn't constantly cleaning up. It was exhilarating. The Airbnb had a karaoke system that we put to use by hosting our very own concert. We rejoiced by drinking, joking, and laughing, all while taking turns on the microphone singing our favorite tunes. All of us were having such a great time. We sang everything from Destiny's Hmong, Paradise's Guluka, White Shadow's Moshuotaka, to the more recent artists like David Yang and Channing. It was about an hour in when we heard a heavy thud from the front door. With the singing and music still going on, some of us heard and turned our attention toward it. The front entrance was secured by a stained glass door. "Is someone at the door?" my sister-in-law Linda asked, looking in that direction. The exterior front entry lights were left on the whole time, but I didn't see anyone there. Not even a single silhouette. Without saying anything, I walked over, opened the door, and peeked my head outside. As suspected, there was no one there. "See anything?" someone asked from behind me. "There's no one there," I replied, closing the door. As strange as it was, I didn't give it much thought. My younger sister Hua joked about it being a ghost, and we laughed. We continued on as if nothing happened. About 10 minutes went by when we heard another knock on the door. Again, there was no one there, but we continued our singing anyway. 5 minutes later, there was an earth-shattering boom at the door that just about knocked it off the frame. Linda and I screamed and ran behind our husbands. At that moment, everyone was on alert, and we even lowered the volume on the TV. My oldest brother Fong ran over to open the door, and again, there was no one there. We all ran outside to investigate. It was dark, save for a few scattered streetlights. There was no traffic coming or going, and no cars parked out in the street. With the exception of us discussing the incident, it was eerily silent. After seeing nothing suspicious, we went back in. My brother Fong was the oldest out of everyone, so he was familiar with the Hmong culture and its traditions. As such, he took it upon himself and immediately went to work trying to reason with whatever entity was causing the unexplained disturbances, even burning some joss paper and incense in the process. After Fong was done, the negative energy surrounding the house seemed to have lifted. We went back to singing once again. 30 minutes went by. I don't recall whose turn it was, but they were in the middle of singing Kusi Chito Ding, and we were all laughing about it when a gust of wind blew through the room. At that moment, my niece Mary was standing in between the living and dining room area. Something slammed itself against the table behind her, rattling the dishes on top of it. Mary yelped and skittered into the living room. A few seconds after that, one of the windows in the dining room busted inward as if a rock or baseball came through it. All of us women screamed in horror, huddling together on one of the couches. The guys rushed over to see the commotion. They saw nothing but broken glass. Apparently, the ghost wasn't a fan of the song. We called the police and our host. The police showed up and searched the area but found nothing. "We'll write a report," was all they said, and left. The host said he'd never gotten a call about anything paranormal since he owned the property. We turned off the music and remained as quiet as possible. None of us dared sleep in the bedrooms on our own. For the rest of the night, all of us slept in the living room together without incident. The next morning, we packed our things and left as soon as we were done. Back then, a few of us had our phones out and were able to record the whole thing as it happened. In one of the still frames, you could see the distorted image of an unknown person with their hand on the stained glass panel of the door. If you slow down the video, you could see shadows darting back and forth, along with two orbs floating about, then disappearing. Glad you made it to the end of the video. This story was inspired by a video I saw recently on Facebook. I'm sure some of y'all have already seen it. I would have included photos, but I didn't want to get a copyright strike. That's it for this episode. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. The link is in the description if you'd like to make any purchases from the Pocket Shop. That link to the video is also listed below. Thanks for listening.